Hi, I'm the Naked Fairy, and today I want to start to talk to you about my family of origin. Now I say start because families are complex, and the roots of family dynamics go back generations, and often the behaviors and attitudes are passed along without a lot of thought or examination, just kind of passively from parent to child. But really, when we think about family, what we think about are the relationships. So here's my family. I was raised by a mom and a dad. I have an older half-sister who was from my father's first marriage and was raised by her maternal grandmother. And I have an older brother. And by quirk of fate, my parents are 7 years apart. Each of us children are 7 years apart. And we each married someone 7 years older than us. Now, I am a WASP. That's a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. We were actually taught that in school. That's how many of us there were around there. Grew up in a middle-class suburb. I knew one African-American girl. I knew one Filipino girl. And the rest of us, we were just white. I mean, I'm talking Wonder Bread white. And I never experienced racism. Well, you don't have racism when everyone's alike. Until I was 16 years old and my brother got engaged to an older biracial woman. Now, I was raised with a song as a child that I was taught. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. I don't know if they still teach that song. The red and yellow, black and white probably isn't considered PC anymore, but it taught me that, at least in the eyes of God, everyone was equal. And I believed that. But apparently, the adults around me didn't believe that. But really, the only prejudice that I was taught growing up was, ironically, about religion. I was absolutely never to date a Catholic boy or a Jewish boy. I could, however, date Methodists because they were okay. But the other Protestants, they were kind of sketchy. It would just be best if I found myself a nice Baptist boy. But ironically, I did find out when I was much older and did some ancestry research that most of my mother's family actually has Irish Catholic roots. And it's my father who's the Protestant. In fact, literally, he comes from Pilgrim stock. So with that combination, it's no wonder we're all a little bit wacky. Now, my dad's family pretty much was out of the picture. He came to Norfolk as part of the Navy when he was a young man, and he never left, while the rest of his family never left the Midwest. I literally saw them 3 times in my life. In fact, one uncle I only ever met once. I have cousins that I've never met. And in fact, I have a picture of a cousin that at the same age we could be identical twins, but we've never met. My mother's family, on the other hand, was around, and I got to see that craziness up close and personal. So I will be talking more about that. But I don't have any illusions about my dad's family. Because here's the thing. Messed up people are attracted and have serious relationships with equally messed up people. That means if you're messed up, your partner's also messed up. But it goes both ways. If you think your partner's really messed up, well, that means you're really messed up too. So, let me kind of give you the summary. My mom's family was full of violent and abusive people. They were 3 sisters and a brother, all of them abusive in some way, and all of them had abusive marriages, except for my mom. So my dad wasn't abusive, and I never saw anything but love and respect in their marriage. And it's one of the things I think they really did right for my brother and I was modeling a safe and reasonably healthy relationship. It had respect, it had love, and there was never any violence or danger within the marriage relationship. And it was a real contrast to my uncles and aunts, who I saw the, if not the actual abuse, the after effects of it. My father was my safe person. He was affectionate, and I knew he loved me, but that doesn't mean he was perfect, because emotionally he was pretty unavailable. Getting to know my dad, really getting to know him, was kind of like being an oil driller and having to go through miles and miles of hard rock. And you broke a lot of drill bits in the process. But my cousin that abused me came from my mom's family. And it's in that context that we'll be talking about a lot of it. Here's the thing about my parents, though. When my dad was around, I had the best mom in the world. Everybody loved my mom. Our house was the house that all the kids went to. All the family gatherings tended to be at our house. My cousins, of course, loved to be at our house. She was wonderful. She was funny. She was a great cook. She was just a good mom. The problem was my dad wasn't always around. And when my dad wasn't around, it was unpredictable. And my mom could flip on a dime. And once that switch flipped, my mom was physically abusive. And she was also abusively negative and critical. And so I lived with this dichotomy that created a lifelong love-hate relationship that I still have with my mother to this day. Feel like I have two moms, kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. And the one mom is, once again, great, and I love her, and I have a lot of compliments for all the things she did well. But the mom that would beat me for looking at her wrong, well, that's not a mom I'm terribly fond of. So next week, we are going to be talking a little bit more about the family dynamics and some of the dynamics of abuse and how my cousin fits into this picture and how that kind of translated into what happened to me. Oh, my brother and sister? Well, because we were raised 7 years apart and my sister was literally raised by someone else, we grew up to have very separate lives, and we live in 3 different parts of the country. So we don't have a lot of interaction with each other. We don't talk very often, and we only see each other. I see my sister about once a year, but my brother I maybe see every 3 or 4 years. But when we are together, we have a great time. We get along well. We have surprisingly similar political views. We have a quirky sense of humor that's a lot alike between the 3 of us, and we just have a good time. So while I don't see them a lot, and I'm okay with that, I do love them, and I do very much enjoy being with them. So, like most families, mine's a mixed bag. There's good, there's bad, there's pretty, there's ugly. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. So, I hope you have a great weekend. Tomorrow's my day off, and I usually spend it with my husband, and we play our Android games together, and we just relax and watch movies. And so I hope you have a restful, enjoyable weekend, and I will be back vlogging on Monday. I'm the Naked Fairy, and as always, clothing is optional. Consent is not.